What's good, world? This is Out Loud Killer. I wanted to show you guys a cool deck profile for Dark Worlds. I think they're really good in this meta. I did pretty okay at my locals here. Let's just get right into it. So with any Dark World, you're gonna find three Graphas. He is just your main card of the deck. You always want to have him engraved. You always want to just have some sort of consistency with him. When he gets pitched, you get to blow up a card. If it gets pitched by your opponent's card effect, along with popping a card, you get to pick a random card out of their hand. And if it's a monster special on your side of the field, which is pretty good, you always want to have Grapha in the grave. It's what makes the deck run. And then we have triple Snow. Snow is your roto of the deck, your searcher. She is not once per turn, and she can search herself, which I think is pretty amazing. When she's discarded by a card effect, you get to search for any Dark World card, that's spell or monster, and if pitched by your opponent's card effect, you get to special one monster out of their graveyard, which can be really good. Then I'm gonna run triple Brow. You're always gonna find these 9 in any Dark World build. Brow is just your draw and your allure target. You get to draw a card when he gets pitched, and if pitched by your opponent's card effect, you get to draw an additional card. I run double beige. However, I am hardly thinking about running 3. 2 is nice, but you really want to have something in hand that'll let you bring Grapha back from grave. Next, I would run double Lucent. More than anything for the beat stick, I run double Lucent and one of each gold and silver. I'm really thinking about taking gold and silver out, however, or at least just leaving silver in. They all have pretty much the same effect. If they get pitched, you get to special summon them. And if pitched by an opponent's card effect, Lucent lets you bring out another fiend from the deck and just special it onto either side of the field. Gold lets you blow up 2 cards if discarded by an opponent's card effect, and silver, which is my favorite, lets you makes your opponent ditch 2 hands to the bottom of the deck in any order, which really just kills any hand. So I really do like silver a lot, secondary effect more than any of these two, depending on who you're playing. But I'm really thinking about taking maybe gold or maybe gold and silver out. Lucent is nice, but it's a lot nicer to be able to normal summon just so you can bounce with Grapha. That's all the Dark World cards I run, and for the non-Dark World cards I run the 1 tour guide for the Fiendish Rhino Warrior, and of course the Maxi, one of the best cards right now. So the combo that you want to do is have a target removed from play with a lure or with gates. You normal tour guide, go Fiendish. You overlay for Leviair. Leviair, you use effect by detaching Rhino Warrior, special whatever you have in your banished, hopefully a Snow. The Fiendish Rhino kicks in grave after detaching, so you can dump a Grapha to the grave, and right there you have a free Snow. You bounce your Snow to special the Grapha. It's a fun combo you can do in this deck. But the Maxi is self-explanatory with the meta right now. Just the free draws are nice. For your spell lineup, we have, and you're going to see why this deck is so much fun to run. First, the triple Gates. The Gates is the main card of the deck. It lets you banish a fiend from grave, pitch a fiend, and draw a card. So it keeps your hand steady, and it gives you the discard engine, that once per turn thing. And whenever you draw into another one and you just want to keep it going, you just dump it and keep using it. And that's what's nice about it. The effect is not once per turn, it's a card, so it's very nice. Next, I run triple Drag Down into the Grave. This is my favorite one out of the whole deck, to be honest, because you get to look at your opponent's hands, you see what you're up against, you know how to play strategically. From there on, you get to pitch a card and draw a card. Whereas in your opponent, they just kind of have to pick their doom. You usually want to set the rest of your cards down and then use that, so they don't ditch a trap or spell. They just want to use a monster. They choose their doom with it. Next, I run triple Dark World Dealings. It's searchable by Snow. and it just keeps the drawing and discard engine going. Double allure for the same reason, just keep the draws coming. Then I run one Pot of Desires and one Regeki. So as you can see, all of the spell cards, with the exception of Regeki, are all draws, all of them. They keep your deck so thin. That's why I only run the one Pot of Desires. By the time you draw into it, you're probably going to be a good 1/3 into the deck, and once you use it, you're going to be down to a lot. You're just going to be shuffling just a handful of cards. I think running two, I banishing like half of the deck is too much, but one keeps your hand good, and there's a reason why in this deck you want to keep a good number in hand, and I'll explain that here shortly. Next, for the traps, I run the double Mind Crush. Mind Crush is amazing in this deck. One, because you're running the drag down into the grave, so you already know what they have in their hand, so you get to choose, and you know you're going to be right. And secondly, if you don't know, or if you just need an additional discard engine, what you would do is just call something like Monster Reborn, which you know they're not going to have, so you get to discard. It works either way. You can kill your opponent's hands, which is usually better, or if you don't have any discard engine, you can use that. Next, I run double Darkworld Brainwashing. This card is amazing. It really is. It stops so many things anywhere, on the field, on the grave, in the hand, because it just says when a monster effect is activated. It doesn't have to be on the field. It can negate from the grave. The condition, however, it's a bit horrible. You need to, one, have 3 cards in your hand, and 2, you need to have a Dark World face up on the field, which is not that bad. That's why you see so many of these spells. They're all draws, all of them. You want to have a field presence. You want to have a good chunk of hand presence. What it does is, when your opponent activates an effect, you can, as long as you have 3 in your hand and 1 Dark World face up, you can bounce the Dark World you have back to your hand, and the effect that your opponent just activated becomes, they randomly discard 1 card from your hand. So it makes it so your Dark Worlds get their second effect, which is really nice, and it negates it altogether. So it's just amazing if you can make it go off. I made it go off at my tournaments yesterday, and I made all of them: Silva, Grapha, Lucent, Snow. I made most of my monsters. I got their second effects due to, because I was able to keep such a hand consistency. After that, I run the essentials: Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, and Skill Drain. I think these 2 are a must in any Dark World deck. One, Eradicator, just it makes it so once you use it, they're not going to have an out. And if you already have a Skill Drain, if you call something like spells, for the next 3 turns, all they're going to rely on is their traps and their monster effects. You're already killing their monster effects with Skill Drain, so it's just really bad news for your opponent, and it's really nice. And with Skill Drain, it negates all the monster effects on the field, and Dark Worlds all go off in the grave, so it doesn't affect you whatsoever. Next, this is what I run, and at least this is what I tech in. And for me, it's worked amazing. I run the triple Solemn Strike and 1 Solemn Warning. This right here just locks your opponent down. You saw how much draw engine we have. We have Skill Drain, we have the Brainwashing, so your opponent's monster effects are going to be gone. So then you have your Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, so either spell or trap. That locks them down for 3 turns. And the point of this deck is to have your opponent not be able to use any monster effects, and just have this guy constantly beat them down. This guy's going to attack directly. It's going to get bruised, and that's why you're not afraid to swing with this guy. If it goes to the grave, it gets destroyed by battle or card effect, that's fine. You bring it back the next turn. There's just a consistent 3k beater that you want out. So with this, it just locks them down that much more before they go off. Warning, you pay 2k to negate the summon or the effect to summon a card. So that stops their soul charge, any link. When it's some Decode Talker or something, you can just immediately do that, and that they -4 on that one, so it's really bad. Or Solemn Strike for the very same reasons, negates effect or a special summon. You got to pay 15k life, but that, along with the skill drains and everything, it makes it so your opponent just has no monster presence, and you're able to just beat down with them. To be completely honest, to me, it works really good as long as you're drawing the right cards. For the side deck, again, you know, it all depends on how you play. I play a bit differently, but I side in one Book of Moon, double Forbidden Lands for in case we got to run things over, because there's a lot of times when, you know, they're a lot higher than 3K. You got the 35 and you just have no way around it. The only way I can get around is with Rigeki, or, you know, hopefully I can hit it with one of the Solemns. But for me, it works great because I can activate it during the damage step. Another card I take in is Prohibition. Not a lot of people run this, and I understand why, but in today's meta, you already know what you're going to run, and there's triple of everything. Everyone runs, just like I run triple Grapha, triple Snow. It's the same thing. Everyone runs triple of something. So if you know what they're going to do, if they need that one card, like with Predator Planet over Scorpio, if you can just hit that with this, then that combo is done, even if they draw it. It's just nice. Then I deck Devi virus for the same reason of Eradicator, but it just depends. You know, your opponent might not have a lot of monsters with 1500 or less, but if they do, you can be ready for it. Next, I taking the double heavy Storm Dusters for those that run D Prison and just all that stuff that makes you banish your monsters, which is bad news for you, because if they banish all three of your Grafas, the deck is not gonna run as smooth. Definitely not. Dimensional Barrier, and that's for I'm supposed to have 3 of these, but I couldn't find my other 2 copies. That's why I only have 12. The one Bottomless for Pendulums, when they, you know, it's whenever they normal or special muster, and it says right there in the parentheses S. So if they special multiple monsters at the same time, and they have 15 or more attack, this triggers and banishes all of them. So it's really good against Pendulums. I cite it, and also cite in the triple Mind Crush just in case, you know. And lastly, Summon Limit. Summon Limit is a card that no one really plays, but I tend to like it a lot, since you're locking your opponent down with all the Solemns, the Skill Drain, the Brainwashing, and all your spells are just used to draw, so you're more than likely will draw into them. You go into half your deck every game. That's why this deck feels so much fun, because you get to do everything with it. But when you draw this, it's neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn. All you do in this deck really is use your Snow to search, use your Brow to search, and use your other beat sticks as you know, beat sticks. But if you have Grapha in the grave, and let's say you got something simple you can normal summon, like a Snow, a Beige, or a Brow, then you just summon your either 1 to bounce to special Grapha, and that's really all you need to do. You only need to summon twice per turn. I mean, yeah, you can get 3 Grapha out in 1 turn if you draw Godly, which, you know, I've done a couple of times, but all you need to do is summon twice, and you already have your Grapha, you already have your 3k beat stick on the field. Your opponent, however, does not have that luxury. They need to summon more to get more than the 3k beater out. So I think it really helps locking your opponent down with it. But that's my deck profile. I feel like it works great at my locals. For the side deck, I really only run the Leviair. I mean, you know, you guys can run whatever you feel is great. Maybe that TY rank 5, and just a couple rank 5s for the gold and silver, and maybe the Zombies dying dude for level 8 for Graphos. But honestly, I rarely go into it. The one you go into the most is just Leviair, because of the tour guide, and the effect is just so good, because you are banishing quite a bit with either gates or allure. Unfortunately, Pot of Desires, you banish 10 face down, so you can't target anything in it, because it doesn't, you know, it's face down, you don't know what it is. But like I mentioned, the point of this deck is to draw everything you can, so you can lock your opponent down and get Grapha in the grave as soon as possible. Actually, I was supposed to have Foolish Burial in here. I do have it in here. Well, what do you know? But yeah, no, Foolish Burial in here as well. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. Out Loud Killer out.